I've already gotten out my screaming, so now I'm calm. Let's talk about this. Hey, I'm Jordan, and this is the Disfellow Dipped YouTube channel, not to be confused with Disfellowshipped. I left Jehovah's Witnesses 2 years ago in February of 2024 and disassociated about 6 months later. And I use this platform to deconstruct from Christianity and talk about the things that I've picked up on when I was in the Jehovah's Witness religion. And I primarily post on TikTok. I've been kind of lax in posting on YouTube, but I kind of use YouTube for longer form content, especially when big changes come out. And we have a huge, monumental change that has just been leaked from the latest governing body update. You know, there were 3 things that after leaving Jehovah's Witnesses, I thought they would never change their stance on. Their stance on homosexuality, disfellowshipping, which they've already made a few changes about, but particularly when it comes to their shunning of apostates, and the blood issue. Well, unlike the governing body, I gotta say, I was wrong. Whoa. Now, when it comes to the blood issue, I thought they would never change their stance because so many people have died from obeying this stance. And I thought they would get sued to oblivion if they ever changed their stance on blood. They still might. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But people are already gone, and they're making this change. Now, the Bible hasn't changed, but their stance has. So, what are we talking about? And if you look at the leak on Reddit and what Loesch says, basically, he was saying that in past watchtowers, they talked about being under the Mosaic Law. Well, not being under the Mosaic Law. They talked about taking principles from the Mosaic Law, despite not being under it, and then applying it. And of course, when they make these changes, they're going to try to gaslight the membership into believing that, hey, this you storing your own blood and possibly using it in surgical procedures or whatever was always a conscience matter, but it wasn't. They like to beat around the bush and play mind games with people. But if you look at the article that he referenced, the 2000 Watchtower, October 15th, page 30, it looks like. This one paragraph says, occasionally a doctor will urge a patient to deposit his own blood weeks before surgery, preoperative autologous blood donation, or PAD, so that if the need arises, he could transfuse the patient with his own stored blood. Okay, but what did the governing body say about that? However, such collecting, storing, and transfusing of blood directly contradicts what is said in Leviticus and Deuteronomy. Blood is not to be stored. It is to be poured out, returned to God, as it were. Granted, the Mosaic Law is not in force now. Nevertheless, Jehovah's Witnesses respect the principles God included in it, and they are determined to abstain from blood. Hence, we do not donate blood, nor do we store for transfusion our blood that should be poured out. That practice conflicts with God's law. Does it sound like they gave the average Jehovah's Witness a choice? I don't think so. I don't think so. They're blood guilty. They are blood guilty. You already had the Malawi versus Mexico situation when it came to the stance of neutrality, where people in Malawi were dying, but Mexican brothers were bribing to not get into military service. They were already blood guilty with that. But this is far worse. They had whole articles dedicated to praising children who chose death in the name of loyalty to God. I have a few screenshots of different articles. Let's see. There was an article in the 90s, 94, where this 12-year-old from Spain was thanking them after having just read the series, Youths Who Put God First. from May 22nd, 1994. I was very impressed by the courage that these young Christian brothers and sisters showed, facing death with such confidence in Jehovah and in the resurrection. Their courage and faith in Jehovah made me weep with joy. So I referenced that article. And conveniently, they changed the title to Youths with Power Beyond What is Normal. You know what's normal is dying from disease. A lot of the people in this article who supposedly had power beyond what is normal died of disease. So how is that power beyond what is normal? Now, one of the examples that they gave was of a girl named Crystal, who they had a court case with her. She had like a rare disease and they were trying to give her blood. And she wasn't allowed to speak for herself in the court case. And at the end of this paragraph, they say that this amounted to a denial of Crystal's rights of due process of law, bodily self-determination, personal privacy, and religious freedom, because they wouldn't allow her to speak for herself in court and refuse blood. Now, if she didn't refuse blood and she willfully accepted it, would they have cared about due process in a judicial committee? Would they have cared about her bodily self-determination, her personal privacy, or her religious freedom to interpret the Bible for herself? Let's say back then, in the 90s, she stored her own blood just in case, and then used it because she got this rare disease. Would they have cared about all of those things they seemed to care about when the hospital was taking her rights away? If she decided, you know what, I don't think this is what the Bible means, because the Bible wasn't written in times where they were using blood in surgical procedures. They weren't performing surgeries when the Bible was written. No, they wouldn't have allowed her to interpret the Bible for herself. What other screenshots do I have? There's another example about Lisa, who passed away from her disease. And the article says, in so doing, she joined the ranks of many other youthful witnesses of Jehovah who put God first. As a result, she will, they're very confident about that, huh? She will, with them, enjoy the fulfillment of Jesus' promise. He that loses his life for my sake will find it. Are you sure? I knew so many people personally who got cancer and died within weeks or months. People that I called my aunts and uncles back in Jersey. One of the close family members, or close family friends who died of cancer, left 2 kids behind with their dad, and their dad remarried a psycho. Hey, Rosa, you're watching this video, fuck you. Married a psycho who made those kids' lives a living hell. And it's possible that their mom could have been around if she was allowed a blood transfusion. I don't know. I will never know. I don't know. My uncle had cancer for years. Died at the age of 31. Same age I am now. And these are not like blood relatives, but I called them aunts and uncles. Passed away. He was going through treatments and stuff, but I don't know if blood could have helped him. I don't know. I knew 2 other people within the same family, some of the nicest, kindest, most genuine people I've ever met, who randomly got like rare forms of leukemia. Cousins of each other. The anniversary of this one guy's death was this month because his wife posted about it. His wife is also, I don't know if she's an ex-Jehovah's Witness, but she posted about it, right? Who knows if blood could have helped him? And then his cousin, years later, who died out of the blue. So now they're making these decisions to allow people to make their own medical decisions after people have died, and they were praising those deaths by writing entire articles dedicated to youth who were willing to die to be loyal to Jehovah. Was it loyalty to Jehovah, or was it loyalty to the governing body who was making these decisions for other people? Oops. It's too late. It's too late. You are blood guilty. People should be suing you to smithereens. They can't get their family back. And that's the thing is like people hold on to this promise. They might not even have a problem with this change because of the promise of the resurrection. The promise of seeing your dead loved ones again. You know what's funny is they won't trust those of us who left and try to hold the governing body accountable for what they do, but they'll trust a group of men that were wrong so many times. Their decisions have caused people to die. I can never say that. None of my videos that I make about the governing body have caused anyone to die. But the decisions of the governing body have caused people to die. They've also been wrong about the end of the world. They've been wrong about telling a whole generation of people that they would never see death. They're dead. Sometimes by not receiving blood, sometimes just by dying of old age, like everybody does. It's insane. Countless people have died. Are we serious? Like, I don't even know. What else can I possibly say? People are dead. And are they going to admit that they were wrong? Like, why are you making these changes now? Why now? What gives? Why now? Because I haven't seen any lawsuits about this particular thing. Are they trying to get ahead of the possible lawsuits? Because it still doesn't make sense. You're still going to get sued. There's no way. There's no way. There are people who could still be living right now in the only life that we know of. And you painted this picture of faithfulness and loyalty that's required to God from your decision. And it wasn't God all along. It was you. Excuse me. See, this is what happens when you allow other adults to interpret the Bible for you. This is what happens. It's one thing when in the beginning they found what you could call biblical truths, Bible truths. It's one thing to find these Bible truths and to tell other people about it and to start a group where you all believe similarly. That's one thing. It's a whole nother thing to set up a religion where now you say you have divine connection to God. He's giving you his Holy Spirit and speaking to you directly to decide for this group what they should believe. And now you're blood guilty. You have caused people to die with your interpretation of this biblical truth. And the Bible is limited in scope. Because did it see surgical procedures coming? Did Jehovah tell the Bible writers that surgical procedures involving blood would come thousands of years from now? No. It's not talked about. None of these people who randomly develop a disease, particularly in America where everything is like cancer causing in this country, nobody's eating blood when they need a surgical procedure. Nobody's like, give me this bag of blood. Nobody's doing that. And you know what's crazy to me is like, there's the idea in the scriptures about life being in the blood. That's the point. That's the point. They're trying to save their lives with blood. So imagine if people could use their blood to save somebody else's life. That's what people are trying to do. And they've been negligent also in the fact that they push this idea that blood transfusions are always dangerous or most of the time dangerous. Let me look back at this screenshot. In this article where they were praising youths for being willing to die, they put up this statistic from the New England Journal of Medicine from the December 14th, 1989 issue, where they reported supposedly that a single unit of blood may carry enough AIDS virus to cause up to 1.75 million infections. Okay, what if you actually do your own research? What do the professionals, the experts say? The Risks and Complications webpage from the American Red Cross says that all donated blood is screened and tested for potential viruses, bacteria, and parasites. However, occasionally, these agents can still affect a patient after a transfusion. The risk of catching a virus or any other blood-borne infection from a blood transfusion is very low. HIV, all donated blood is thoroughly tested for HIV. There is a 1 in 2 million chance that donated blood will not only carry HIV, but also infect a transfusion recipient. So in my mind, they took those figures and skewed them. They took those figures and flipped it to push their narrative. When in reality, it's extremely rare that you could catch something. Hepatitis B and C. The odds of catching hepatitis B from donated blood is about 1 in 300,000. The risk with hepatitis C is 1 in 1.5 million. West Nile virus, 1 in 350,000. Extremely rare. So in the off chance that you do need a blood transfusion and something is screened wrong, the chances of you getting a disease are still slim to none. They have been medically negligent to the point where people have died. And they're going to make this change, and they've prepared the membership, the average Jehovah's Witness, to obey even if it doesn't make sense from a human standpoint. They went from being a group of people called Bible students who simply studied the Bible and found truths in it to now being a cult that controls people's lives and what they do medically. How is this not a cult? They wait for decisions to be made for them and then bow. But I'm the problem because I want these people held accountable. When I first heard this news, I had to take out thoughts in my mind of burning Bethel down. I had to be like, no, that's too much. That's too much. Sometimes I'm like, is it? Is it too much? The fact that this was leaked early shows that there are people in Bethel who know that this is crazy. That they have caused people their lives. And they're going to act like this is cavalier. And you know what? They're making this decision around the memorial for a reason. They're manipulating people. They're going to say, hey, we're making this change, but let's focus on the memorial. That's what's important right now. Hey, look over here. We want to think about what's the important blood. Jesus' blood. Jesus' blood is important right now. I know you might have just lost a loved one because they refused blood that they could have stored their own of and kept over here so that they could give it to themselves. I know, but Jesus died so that you could see them again. You don't know that. You don't know that you can see them again because nobody has. No person on earth has seen a resurrection. I don't give a fuck what the Bible says. I don't care. It's myth, Hebrew legend. Nobody has seen a resurrection. Not one. Oh. We've all lost loved ones, and a lot of us have lost loved ones because of this. Yes, unfortunately, disease is a part of life. But you know what else is a part of life? Free will. The ability to choose for yourself how you're going to prolong this life. So many Christians say this life is a gift. And I can't be disloyal to God because I might lose the other gift later on. I might lose a future life if I don't give up this life. Because the governing body, a group of white men in New York, is telling me that this is what God wants. But they might change their minds years later. Oops. It's too late. It's too late. Sue them to oblivion. I never thought I would see this day. Ever. Ever. Who knows? Maybe they might drop the homophobia. Maybe they might be like, you know what? Apostates, they're okay. You can talk to them. Maybe I'll be safe. Maybe I'll be fine. And my family might give themselves gain permission to speak to me again. They won't gain it from me, but they might gain it from the governing body. stupid. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What else is there to say? Go out and interpret the Bible for yourselves and save yourselves. Save yourselves. And if the end is so near, why make such a huge change? Why? Why? For what? Is somebody in the governing body sick? Is somebody in the governing body sick? And they realize that they don't want to die that way? So they're like, you know what? Let's find some new light and tell everybody else. Is that what's really going on? Somebody tell me. Somebody in Bethel, let me know. Because what if Garrett Loesch is sick? And that's why he was like, I'm going to announce this change. Because I don't want to die that way. I know these young people did. They were martyred, and we wrote articles about them. But I don't want to go out like that. Well, I mean, he believes he's going to heaven, so maybe he doesn't care, and he's old. But I'm tired. Please wake up, people. Please, please wake up. Because nobody should be responsible for other people's lives like this when it comes to biblical understanding. This is insanity. Insanity. They claim to be God's representatives, but then when they're asked in court, no, not really. We can't say that. That would be presumptuous. Well, you're acting like it. Every day. Every day. They should obey you no matter what. Even if it doesn't make sense, they should obey you. And here we are. When are people going to get resurrected? When's that going to happen? Empty promises. Empty promises. I really hope this wakes so many people up. But I never thought we'd be here. I never thought. And I can't wait for the lawsuits.